This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.
Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foulball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well, because I'm doing phenomenally. Thank you very much there, Skip. This is the 62nd episode of the MFer Podcast, and I thank you, wonderful humans, for joining me today. It's a special day. It's Monday. It's not actually any special. It's just a day. Just any other day, any other Monday. Except you're here watching the MFer Podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And, you know, if you don't catch the rest of this, you can catch it on all podcast platforms tomorrow morning. And Rumble. And Twitter. I make it so available. It is so widespread. So available. The most available. You've never had a more available podcast. A lot of people say it. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Hello, Big Ship. Late and gay. I was quite late and gay today. Sorry, time got away from me. I was eating, and I was like, oh, shit. I should have started already. So it's like, running in. But here I am. I'm here. Hello, Cotton Ministries. Good to see you. Mr. 007 Freedom. Moo to you. Moo to you. And Latino Slant. What up, dog? How you doing, brother? I saw you were live streaming. Was that today? I think it might have been today. Like 100 people in your chat. Way to go, brother. Way to go. Remember when I first met Paulie in Gary's member streams? Way back in the day when he could still do those. Now he's got over 1 million subs. He couldn't possibly. They'd be flooded with hordes of adoring fans. Zax is here too. Hello, Zax. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. What am I going to talk about today? Oh, I'd love to be on. I'd love to be on Paulie. Same. Love to just to fucking shoot the shit, man. Just to talk. Uh-oh, I cursed in the first 4 minutes. YouTube fail. Yeah, no, I'd love to talk to you again, brother. So, I was thinking about what am I going to talk about today, you know? And I'm going through the stories. And, you know, I was like looking at all the stories, and they're all political. Like everything's like Elon, DOGE, you know, the JD Vance European speech, and then there's even like a New York City story, but that's political too. And it started making me think about like kind of where things are right now, and I don't know, I am obsessed. Like I was listening to was it Asmongold? I don't know, some streamer. And they showed this clip, I think it was of Fox News. And they're like, it's exhausting. You know, they meant it positively just because of how much stuff is happening in the Trump administration. But it's honestly, for me, I found it to be very true. I find myself a little exhausted, but like addicted there's just so much new information and so much development and actual things happening, in the government every single day that I'm on Twitter like all day. I can't get enough of it. Still getting no traction. Thank you, Cotton Ministry. Thank you, Papa. I appreciate that you follow and like my stuff. You and one or two other people. No traction. Zero zip. I don't know why. I don't know how you get traction on Twitter. If anyone has the answer, let me know. DM me on Twitter. But I get nothing. Nothing at all. But that's whatever. But there's just so much. There's so much. I just remember last week when I was listening to the press conference with Elon and Trump, and I'm hanging on their every word. I'm not tired of it. I guess yesterday I went down a different rabbit hole for a while. I started listening to this guy, Pointless Hub. You guys probably have seen his stuff. He has very big videos, millions of views. They're about he does a lot of stuff about kaiju movies, monster movies, Pacific Rim and stuff. He's very charming. I like his style. I like the way he talks about movies. But anyway, I was just I need a little swerve from politics. But this morning I'm back on it. Just scrolling Twitter, going to the DOGE. God, I want more updates from the DOGE Twitter. They barely post. And I'm like, post more, DOGE, please. For the love of Pete. I want to know everything. The most recent one, this was from yesterday. Sunday, by the way. They were working on a Sunday. God love them. The government, that is not what they're known for. They are not known for working on the weekends. They're not really known for working, turns out, unless it's to undermine America. Unless it's to take your hard-earned money and give it to trans people in Guatemala. That one, I was talking to my mom. So my parents are kind of they're my yardstick for the average, the everyday person who doesn't, hang out on the DOGE Twitter account waiting for a refresh, waiting for new information. And I was talking to them, and I still feel bad because they still only get their information from the mainstream media. I think that they are a lot more cynical of the information they receive, but they still, I think, that's the only place they get their information. I'm just that is shocking to me. That is shocking to me. That would be like banking, where every bank account you've ever had at that branch, they've stolen money out of. And you're yeah, well, that's the bank I know. It's but they are stealing from you. It's, it's just, but there's other ways to do this. That's how I look at the mainstream media. It's they're lying. They're clearly lying. All they do is lie. Why would you continue to listen to them? Yeah, that's what I do. But anyway, I was having a passionate discussion with my mom about, and I wasn't really arguing with her. I was just talking about this stuff because some of it really does get me fired up. If you remember last week's episode, I was a little pumped. I was a little fired up about this whole situation, kind of, a little. And I was just yelling at, and when some of the examples would pop into my head, it's you can't believe it. It's whatever, what was it, $48,000 for the Guatemalan trans comic book or something like that. It wasn't a significant amount of money. I mean, $48,000 is a lot of money, not in the scale of trillions, but it's just the most absurd example. When you hear those words in order, Guatemalan trans comic book, you're what the fuck? What are you talking about? What are those words? What does that mean? Why Guatemala? Why a comic book? Why trans issues? Do you feel I don't know all that much about Guatemala, but I do know a fair amount of Guatemalans have moved to Texas. So in my estimation, there is a reason to leave, right? That's what I would kind of conclude from that information. That would lead me further to believe that maybe there are some pretty significant problems in Guatemala. But I bet probably not in the top 10 list would be understanding trans people better. I feel there might be a few things to address before we go there. It's some of this stuff, as obnoxious as it is, it's more a luxury of first world libs. It's gay and lame, and I hate it, and I want us to really stop. That's why I'm so addicted to all this DOGE stuff, because it's like every single day is just like Christmas, you know? But I mean, it really is the luxury of a first world type of economy to even think about stuff like that. And it's like you're spending this much money in the third world to get them to understand trans ideology. Like, it's beyond parody. Like, if I made a sketch about that, and I was like, yeah, how are we going to spend this money? I was like, I don't know, $48,000 to Guatemalan trans people sounds good or whatever, or a comic book. You'd be like, that's stupid. But it's real life. You know what I mean? It's crazy. The gender inclusive musicals. I mean, it's like the whole world. We're just spreading it everywhere. Utterly insane. Hello, Courtney. Good to see you. Check my socials. Cotton gave me a retweet. Of course you did, because you're the fucking man. But I don't know. Was that addressed to me? But anyway. Hello, Courtney. Good to see you. What do you say, Mr. 007 Freedom? Most of that money was a kickback to whoever approved the money transfer. The excuse is propaganda. Look. Obviously. You know what I mean? Clearly. I'm not naive to that. But that doesn't matter. I would be less offended if it said political kickback as the line item. Bribes for officials in Zimbabwe. I'd be fine with that. Not fine, but at least I would prefer it to DEI initiatives in fucking Kazakhstan or whatever. You know, I'd rather it just say, yeah, straight up bribes. Straight up money laundering by the DNC. I'd be like, well, at least they're not spreading trans ideology. It is absolutely insane, too, to see the reaction to it. To see people protesting. Who's on the side of this thing? Like, I guess I should watch the media a little bit more, even though, because I'm just curious, like, how the messaging reaches the ops. Hear that, Gen Alpha? The ops? How the message reaches, like, the libs. Because you see these things and like they're like, we want to get rid of DEI. They're like, oh, they only want to hire straight white males. It's like, no, what? Why is that your conclusion? It's just the unfairness of the practice. That's all. It's not about, it's just, like, it's not nothing to do with hiring or not hiring black women or whatever. It's just like, we're going to not focus on that. We're not going to prioritize these things. We're just going to hire people that are good at the job. It's like, no, they just want straight white men around. It's like, no, you're the one who sees it that way. You're the one who wants to exclude straight white males. We just don't want the exclusions, you know? And we want it to be justified. Like, I really don't even see the genuine counter discussion. Yo, what up, Ruben? How you doing? Hey, Liz, good to see you. Don't bother addressing Gen Alpha. They don't know how to read. Yeah, but they're the future. They're the future. I kind of appreciate Gen Alpha. I think they're pretty funny as a generation. They don't... Like, I think a lot of all that slang and stuff like that is they're almost kind of trolling us. You know, like Skibbity Toilet or whatever. I think they're just fucking with us, which is hilarious. That's funny. They're trolling everyone older than them. That's pretty funny. Pretending they say things that they don't just to, like, for a laugh. There seems to be such a detachment, you know, like my generation was the one that got the real hard dope of like woke indoctrination. And probably even a little bit younger than me, probably people who are like 30 probably got it like the worst, right? Because a lot of this stuff, when I was in high school, we didn't really get it. You get government education, which is loaded with bullshit, but you don't get the, but it wasn't the whole thing. It wasn't, you know, all the white guilt and all the indoctrination and all that stuff from the jump. But I think the generation after me, that they started to get that, like real woke teachers and stuff. But so they were the most like the heart of the thing. I'm like on the outside, the 30-year-olds are on the heart, and then the Gen Alpha is on the other side. And I just think Gen Alpha is just like completely numb to it. They like, I think they'd be gayer than even that generation, but they're actually not. Like, they're totally like, this is stupid. Like, they're like, it's like a twinge of cynicism, but it's a comical twinge. I like it. I think that generation is actually pretty cool, and I'm like hopeful. You know, like the kids who are like, when I was like in LA and stuff, and the kids even now, the kids who are like 8 years younger than me are fucking awful. You know, like they're the most like activisty activists. You know, they're like, just, it's like my millennial shit like jacked up. You know, like they're so left. But I don't know. I'm hopeful for Gen Alpha. I think they're gonna be pretty cool. I think we've got good crop of kids coming up. Just hire white chicks. Ugh. That, if we're going to discriminate against a group, that's the group we need to pick. White women. They gotta go. They gotta go. They are the reason all this shit happens. Like I was saying last week, I'm happy women's sports is protected, but it was your own damn fault. You guys opened the door for us. Wasn't guys. We wanted nothing to do with it from the jump, but you guys insisted. We were all homophobic bigots. Then look what happens, and now you want us to cheer for you. It's like, if you just shut up once in a while and kind of let us lead, things might be okay on occasion. You know? I saw this thing where it was like, it said like, if only, it was like a projection of the election, if only white men voted, the only states I think that went to Kamala were Oregon, Seattle, and Hawaii. Not even California. Not even California. It's like crazy, dude. Not that it, you know, like honestly, it's probably the type of thing where it's like, oh, they're just going to use that to be like, see, racism. Oh boy. What do you guys say? Hello, low spec. It's gonna be we'll be renaming the Milky Way. From now on, it'll be called the American Way. Everyone. That's really funny. The American Way. I like that. That's good. Everybody's gonna love it. Frankly, it should have been done a long time ago. Very good. That is a good joke. Okay, hire hot Latinas, but don't deport them. Absolutely. If you're a spicy Latina, you get to stay. That's okay with me. Big booties, I'm all for it. Actually, I was in a gym when I was in San Antonio. Whoo, doggy, where there's some sexy Latinas in that gym. That was distracting. My word. But those women are so fertile. I think thinking about fucking them gets them pregnant. Shit. What was I gonna say? That Milky Way line totally derailed me. I was connecting to the trans thing and the whole millennial thing. I don't know. Anyway, free speech. Did you guys see J.D. Vance's European speech? For some reason, I avoided it. I wasn't into it. I don't know why. I think because it was like I heard negative things first, you know? Because there's a lot more libs on Twitter nowadays than there were. I don't know if Elon tweaked the algorithm, but I said this before, but it was just every other tweet is just some screeching lib, and I'm like, why am I reading? It's nice to get a little bit of it. But it's it just forces me to want to engage. Plus, I found that there are still stands of the sequel, the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and you're like, you guys exist still? I thought that was all just cope. But they do, and I find them on Twitter, and it's the worst. I don't find them. They just show up. So I saw, basically it was a lot of hate to J.D. Vance for his speech, And I was like, I don't really want to get into this. I don't really want to, look into what that's all about. But then I just happened to come across it, fucking, my YouTube, I swear to God, 8 out of 10 times the autoplay will just start playing Asmongold. Does he have a deal with them or something? I actually kind of like his content, but why is he everywhere? There's lots of giant YouTubers I don't know about. Why is Asmongold the one? I don't even think I'm subscribed to him. But I just end up watching his stuff because it just sort of auto-plays and goes into Asmongold. And I'm like, all right, well, this is fine. So anyway, he did the whole J.D. Vance speech. That speech was incredible. I thought it was such a good speech about like how crazy Europe's gotten with all, I made a sketch about it with like in Britain, how they arrest people for social media posts. And and like, it's insane how far things have gotten and who their government has chosen to protect and who they listen to and who they've sold out their whole country to. And he goes over there and is just like, and it was pretty, like, it was an incredible speech. Like, it was very articulate. It was very honest. There wasn't any political posturing on it. There was no fancy bullshit words. It was like he was just clearly an articulate speaking of his mind and of the point. And it was basically, I think it was more to the people of Europe than the people in the room. I think he was just basically like being like, you guys think this is bullshit. It's these guys who don't want you to be able to say it and aren't going to do what we ask or what you ask or what you'd like to do. So I thought the speech was terrific, but there's still a tremendous amount of TDS in the world. I don't know. I just thought it would be a little bit different, but there isn't. And it's like there were protests today. There were like people gathering up. Don't look into the corruption. We want to spend more money on bullshit. We like lining the pockets of politicians with my money. Yeah. Like, what the hell? Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? Oh, cringe, bro. Absolutely brutal. Listless. Asmongold is quite the social commentator. He shows up in my feed too. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty wild. But, day of the inauguration on this channel, I had Vigilante Williamson on. Shout out, go sub to Vig. He's the man. And we were talking about the cringe war. Basically this concept of like public perception essentially, and like how cringy are you? Now the left, I think, clearly lost that for a long time. But there were some pretty bad examples of the right being pretty cringy. And we were talking specifically about Elon, like lying about being a gamer stolen valor. So cringe. But the liberal politician women's singing "What Side Are You On" with their own new lyrics. Ooh, boy. That's like the battle of the bulge of the cringe war, man. You lose that one. It's going to be a tough one to come back from. It was the most cringy thing I've ever seen. Let me end because I'm going to play. Wait, hold on. Is this the most recent one? Yeah, here we go. It's brutal, bro. Brutal. Oh my God. Here we go.
Are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Come all of you good workers, good news to you I tell. About a good old union has come in here to dwell.
I mean, come on. You're getting crushed on the cringe war here, lady. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And the lyrics, I mean, they're a nightmare. They're a nightmare. I don't know. Yeah, no, this is brutal. Also, she can't sing. She's not very good. Like when she starts to like really feel it and like lets her soul out, ooh, it's not good. It's not good. The lyrics are cringe. The whole thing is cringe. Cringe, bro. Skibbity. But it's brutal. Like it's really uncomfortable. And I would say that's a pretty big loss in the cringe war. That's a pretty bad one. Hello, Zax. It's kind of like the folks in charge want first world countries overrun with people who extract resources as cheaply as possible. That's an interesting conspiracy theory. I think that's probably part of it. I think it's just that liberal world order thing, though. I think it's just kind of like there are no real Western, like distinct Western civilizations left. I think that's the goal. I think it's to just kind of like infuse cultures that are radically different, especially when it comes to Europe, and basically kind of erase like the identity of Westerners, and just get rid of it. You know, that's my best estimation. Because I can't really see any other reason why you would do these things. And when people like complain, like why there's nothing done, like the rape gangs in Europe. Why isn't that like a humanitarian crisis? And I've been hearing about that for a long time. The fact that it's finally reached the mainstream media is like, I've been hearing that for, I'd say, a decade. Whenever the Syrian refugees got to Europe, like, I've been hearing it since then. I knew a girl from Germany that happened to back in LA. That was a long time ago. That was well before COVID. Like, you know, she was living in America, so it was obviously at least some time prior. It's not a new story at all. Yet it just seems to be getting worse, and there's just like nothing being done about it. Like the government is basically being like, hey, so you can't do that here, so just please don't. It's like, what? Why would anyone in Europe be living under their values? Like, no, you come to this country or whatever country it is, you assimilate. You change to them, not the other way around. Why is that not the default? Why is that? It's crazy. I think about that with like speaking English, you know? There's a lot of people that move here. My neighbors, they don't speak English at all. And they're so fucking noisy. No one's been in here for like 7 months, and it's been great. And now I just hear thumping and noise all day long. It's the worst. But I asked them, I was like, hey, could you guys like keep it down? They don't speak a word of English. They had no idea what I was saying. I had to translate everything on my phone. And it's like, that is so arrogant. I just could never imagine moving to another country and being like, I'm not going to bother learning your language. I'm just going to, find people who also speak English. It's like, fuck you, man. This isn't your country. You're not going to just come here and run it however, be however you want. We have customs here. We have ways of life. Adapt to them. That's fucked up. It's very, very disrespectful, I think. You don't have an official language. It's like, okay, but we have like a de facto language, and you know that. I don't want to hear that. It's such a cop-out. That's such bullshit. It just creates these cultural divides. I mean, I looked into it. There's a not insignificant percentage of second-generation Latinos that don't speak a word of English. Second generation. How is that possible? How can a person expect to thrive in an English-speaking nation if you don't learn the fucking language? Like, I'll give you like time. Like, there's a learning curve to learning a whole other language. I get that, but it's just so, like I said, it's just so rude and disrespectful. I just would never do that. I would never move to like Argentina and just never learn Spanish. It's like, fuck you, then get out, dickhead. We speak Spanish here. It's like, yeah, it's so, I don't know. I'm thinking like an American. Darn tootin' there, girl. Darn tootin'. Always. Always. Oh, did you? You talked about language and assimilation today? Interesting. I looked into it, Paulie. It was tough because it was like a bunch of different sources. But no, it was less than 10%, or maybe it was about 10%, but it was not insignificant. It was not an insignificant number. It was enough. Like there's a Latino grocery store down the street from me that I go to sometimes. And first of all, they look at me like I'm a fucking alien. Just like, oh, thanks for the welcome, y'all. They're like, what's he doing here? It's like, what the fuck you mean I'm doing here? It's a store. Well, because it's like, you guys, have plantains as well. I can't fucking shop here. What is this? and they're not polite. But I asked them for help, and nothing. Not a word, not a single word, and no like contrition about it. No, like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's just kind of like, no, I don't. Like, well, you should, because you live in America. Like, it's just, like I said, it's just rude. I just would never do that. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's Latinos. Try more like Somalis. I think I transitioned. I wasn't saying Latinos are the rape gangs. No. Look, I like Latinos. I do. I used to live in L.A., and I used to bartend for a lot of Mexican families, and they're fantastic. They're the nicest people, sweetest people. They all spoke English, but they were wonderful, very welcoming. Very sweet. I think like at first, especially when it was like no white people, at first they were like a little unsure of me, but then like once I was cool, they were cool, and it was great. I mean, they were always like bringing me food and just tipping the hell out of me, like getting so many tips. I had nothing but positive things to say. But that's not to, still learn language. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, it's just fucking rude. Latino slant. Really, Latinos are warm people in regards to cultural exchanges, but I hear, it's just my experience. You know what I mean? It's just my experience. And like, I've seen that in America a lot. Like, go to Koreatown, like me and my mom went to this really excellent Korean restaurant, and, they like ignored us. So we wanted to patronize your restaurant, and they just kind of like ignored us for a while. We were just standing there like waiting for, like at the host stand, and just waiting to be acknowledged, and no one saying anything. I had to like stop somebody like, hey, we'd like to sit down. Is that possible? And then it was fine, but it's just like, Jesus, rude, fucking rude. And we're in America, not South Korea, be polite. Listless. I don't know. I had some friends that moved here from Mexico, and they were awesome. Maybe the U.S. makes them sour. Look, I just went on a whole little or aside, talking about how much I do like Latinos, but these are experiences I had. You know what I mean? K-Town, they treat us all shitty. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was K-Town. That's right. Yeah, fucking rude. It was so funny, too. I was down there one day, and I was like, God, everyone's driving like shit today. And I was like, oh, well, that's why. I'm in Koreatown. Whoopsie. That makes sense. All right. Back to the DOGE thing real quick. So this is the type of stuff that, like, I don't understand. I don't understand the counter argument to this. It's like DOGE and Elon found that there are people, according to the Social Security database, which, by the way, is programmed in a code that was invented in 1959, COBOL. Now, I don't know if they've updated the language since then, and I'm not much of a programmer, but 1959, I feel like we've got some better programming languages since then. I don't know. Call me crazy. But anyway, in this database, there were people there, according to this is the Social Security official database. This is their database. There were people that were aged 360 years old, 240. There were 1,000 people aged 220 to 229. Now, I'm not there. I'm not looking into all of this. And that doesn't mean necessarily that they're all receiving payment. I don't know. But doesn't that concern you that your government is so bad at keeping records? Your Social Security number is important. That's an extraordinarily important piece of information for you living in America. Tremendous. It's the kind of thing where if you let that leak, it could ruin your life. It could fuck your credit up. You could really get your identity stolen. You could be in deep shit if that happens. And this is the system that they use? 360-year-olds? And there's only one. There's only one. So that means no one bothered to look. And it's like the whole thing with the retirement thing that Elon talked about, where there's a limestone mine shaft. And there's an old mining elevator that has to go down into the mine shaft where all the manila envelopes are processed. You're like, who has been running this shit? How is this the way these things work? It's absurd. Like, it would be funny if it wasn't, like, the federal government. It's like, I knew they were inefficient, but, like, I didn't know it was, like, a joke. A limestone mine shaft? What? What? Why? We need federal retirement paperwork in case there's an atomic bomb? Why would that be where that's stored? There might have been a good reason in the 50s or whatever when they did it, but I can't imagine that reason still exists. It's insane. And so we're finding all this corruption and just pure, I'm still going to be like, it's just incompetence, right? Look, we know it's corruption, but I'm just going to be like, even if it isn't, which it is, but even if it isn't, this is so incredibly inefficient, so poorly managed, so riddled with mistakes that it's like, why? Who's against this? Who is against this? And I like, it's like, oh, they just want to get in there so Elon can cover up blah, 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 so he could get rich with your data. I'm like, rich? You think Elon Musk's plan is to get more rich? How could you get richer? What could he do with more billions? Buy a country? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Like, what kind of, and it's like, so he's motivated by greed and stealing taxpayer money to satisfy himself. But none of the politicians that are currently in there are motivated by that. That's just unique to Elon Musk, who's already more wealthy than, like, all those people put together. Are you really that stupid? Like, I just don't see the other side of it. Like, if you're dumb and you truly, just believe propaganda, okay, fine. Like, that's one thing. You're just an idiot. There's no saving you. But, like, if you're a rational thinking person and you look at this situation and you're like, that guy, look, I could be like, hey, he's moving a little fast. Things might get broken moving that fast. Maybe you should slow down. And I could be like, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. I love it. I'd rather things break because it's so bloated and corrupt and inefficient and broken. But you don't want him to get rid of this? You don't want him to get rid of, like, redundant systems or just absolute bloat, like thousands and thousands of employees that do nothing, and these like all this money. It's like, well, it's it's less than 1% of the budget. It's like, who gives a shit? It's $60 billion. I'm sure we could do something constructive with it. I think we probably could find a good reason to use it. That isn't, fucking how to teach pronouns in Nepal. Who's on the other side? I don't get it. Who is against this? Why? And there is a lot of, like, interference being run. It's like my buddy Michael, you guys know him from the chat. He's Big Lib. What's up, Senshi Dildo? And he's all like getting information from Reddit or whatever. He's like, oh, these are all shows. He's not actually cutting anything. It's like, yes, he is. He's getting rid of, like, entire organizations. That's a cut, man. Those people are fired. Their organization doesn't launder money anymore. Those are real cuts. It's not, like, performative. It's like this commitment to this cynicism. Like, I don't get it. Why would you not want this to happen? Democrats, Republicans, how is this bad? Unless you're directly benefiting from it. Then I can understand you being like, we need to stop. This is tyranny. Other than that, I genuinely don't get it. What are you saying, such a dildo? Damn, you Maddie boy. Streaming at the same time as Hilts. We're rating black character during Black History Month. Who's Hilts? Who is that? I do this show the same time every week. So if anything, he's streaming during my time. Okay? Okay. Black Game of Thrones character. Oh, God. Flaccid Phoenix. Oh, okay. Right on. What's he go by now? Is it Hilts or what is it? I forgot. Like I know the channel you're talking about. Senshin is a drunk dildo. He might be. What are you saying here, listless? Listen, public sector workers losing their jobs is always going to be accompanied by a massive whining. Yeah, I guess so. And I get it, but I just like there's like maybe it really is just purely. You know, it's so funny. I didn't subscribe to this channel because he's like, listen, like only subscribe if you're actually gonna watch it. Man, he's doing pretty good, huh? Ranking black characters, Game of Thrones. There are quite a few, aren't there? All right. Anyway, back to me being mad. I think like you either fundamentally misunderstand the situation, you have TDS and anything Trump does is bad, or you're like lying to yourself, or you know, like I just really can't think. Like what other explanation is there? Why would you want more government bloat? Why would you want to spend more money on bullshit, you know? Does the number $36 trillion not concern you? Does the number that we spend more on interest on the national debt than we do in defense? That's not concerning to you? Talk about waste, okay? Whatever you want to think about DEI programs and transgender surgeries to fucking, I couldn't think of a country, whatever. Unless you are the bank, why would you want to, you're spending interest on the debt. That's benefits zero people, not even your fucking trans Guatemalans. That just benefits the bank. Why would we want that? It's taxpayer money. Just go pay interest. So you like, what do you want? Do you want America to be destroyed? Like, is that what your goal is? If that's what you want, well, then obviously we're not on the same page on that. But like, oh my God. Yeah, no, I saw that. Which is crazy. Because Game of Thrones, like, so over. But good for him. That's awesome. Uganda. There we go. That would have been a funny country. Uganda. Thank you, Liz. What's up, Six? Good to see you, pal. Good to see you. Sentient Dildo, if you're still here, I had something for you. So this is like, okay. These I think are way more corrupt. Who was it, 007 or whatever, who was saying that it's like money laundering? It's like, probably. But this list of this stuff from what department is this one? Sorry. Oh, okay. So maybe this is a Department of Defense, okay? Listen to these things that they have spent millions. These are millions too, not hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, millions. 10 million for Mozambique voluntary medical male circumcision. Voluntary. Why on earth would we spend $10 million on that? 9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills. That costs $9 million, guys. You can't just make a fucking Instagram profile. You need $9 million. $9 million to do that. 2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. Cambodia, man, you kidding me? 32. This is where I think I think this is all money laundering because these don't even mean things. 32 million to Prague Civil Society Center. I don't know what this Prague Civil Society Center does, but I bet they're doing it great with $32 million pumped into it. $40 million for, quote, Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Hub. What? What is that? What is a Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Hub? What, like Pornhub? and equality there? Gender equality there? It's a scam. I'm glad Cosmo got some of that Cambodia money. Yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. What the fuck does that mean? What does improving public procurement mean? This is all money laundering. None of this is real. $486 million. Like, do you hear the figures? And we can't give people who like suffer in a hurricane like enough to help with their house rebuilding and their groceries and like our hotels. We can't do that. Can't do it. But we got $486 million to spend on the consortium for elections and political process strengthening. How shady does that sound? That sounds like some like fortified election shit right there. Consortium for elections and political process strengthening. That is something you'd hear come out of the USSR. That is some deep state, up to shenanigans, like psyop shit. That is scary. Inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova to the tune of $22 million. And $21 million for voter turnout in India. $21 million. $21 million. Why? Why? Oh. And just every single one of these things is like $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. Yeah, I bet that's like warlord weaponry is probably where that ends up getting spent. I don't think that ever is going to help elections in fucking Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. This adds up to like $1 billion. How does $1 billion just leave without anyone like paying attention to it? Like, no wonder we're $33 trillion in debt. How could we not be? We're spending money on everything, all types of shit, just throwing millions all over the planet for all types of bullshit. I mean, it's like, there was something that Elon said in the press conference I thought was funny. He's just like, well, there were times when the Treasury Department was sending out money, fraudulent money to not even Americans, foreign countries. He's like, okay, if people are going to scam the system, at least the beneficiaries should be Americans. I was like, yeah, that's honest. Honestly, it's crazy. 6. How do you know it's money laundering if you don't even know what it is? Isn't that more suspicious that I don't know what those words mean? That they're so intentionally vague and like mute. It's exactly what you list your slush fund for hookers when you're, out in fucking Cambodia or whatever. You'd have some generic ass name for it. Voter confidence in Liberia. Inclusive democracies in Southern Africa. $2.5 million. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. What is this? What are these programs? Oh my God. 6. You keep saying the name of the country as if it's ridiculous. That is where the money is being spent. You realize the entire Agency for International Spending, right? I don't want to spend the money, 6. We are broke. I just explained that we spend more on interest on the national debt than we do in defense. We don't have the money. We don't have it. We do not have these dollars to give to these other fucking nations. Why? It is absurd. It is absurd because why are we paying for that? How does that help the American people in any way? How does $486 million to the Consortium of Elections and Political Process Strengthenings, $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, how does that help me? How does that help America? Why is that a positive thing? We should not be spending any money on any of this. It's the price of being a hegemon. Well, I don't want to be the hegemon anymore. I don't want to be the fucking world savior because I don't believe these programs actually do what they're saying they do. I think it's just it's being rinsed. It's being run incredibly inefficiently. This is just a mess. I'm not okay with this. I think it's suspicious. I wouldn't call it suspicious, though, that you don't actually look into what is involved in each one. You want me to look up all these? You know how many there fucking are, Six? Do you know how many there are? There are like hundreds of these. They come out every single day. Go to the DOGE Twitter. That's their entire feed. You want me to look into every single individual one? I'm not going to do that. Okay? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look at them and be like, that's fucking insane. That's fucking... You don't think any of that stuff... What are you, like an apologist for like the deep state or something? You on their side, man? You don't think these are wastes of fucking money? How could this be a good thing for the country at all? I don't know, man. That's a weird take, brother. I don't know what to tell you. Strange take. Wait, what are you saying? What's up, Canadian Spider-Man? Good to see you. Some will be real, most won't be. Yeah, probably. Yeah. You're questioning the circumcision in Mozambique, and you don't understand that it's for the reduction of AIDS. Okay. I mean, okay. So fucking what? How, once again, is that my problem? How does that help America? Why are we spending money, $10 million, for voluntary medical male circumcision? And I'm sorry, how exactly does that reduce the spread of AIDS? Isn't it a blood thing? Like, I don't know enough about that situation, but I've heard a lot of really fucked up things. I don't care. It's not my problem what goes on in fucking Mozambique. Certainly not to the tune of $10 million at all. All right, see you, Six. I don't know what you want. I'm not really sure what you were hoping to hear, that we should be spending billions and billions and billions and billions of unchecked dollars, just throw them out the door to every single country for the most absurd sounding programs. And then when a fucking hurricane happens, now you're fucked in this country. Absolutely not. I'm over it. I don't want it. I love this shit. Gut it all. Gut it all. The fucking teat is closed, man. Enough. Fucking enough. Absolutely not. How much stuff they're spending on DEI and trans shit and all this across the world. That's propaganda. Whether or not this healthcare stuff is valuable or not, which your guess is as good as mine. But you want us a state-sponsored propaganda the world over for more of this bullshit? I don't know how you ended up here, man. I don't get it. I don't know. Low spec. Not another penny until we're no longer in debt. All of our people are taken care of. Fucking A. Preach it, low spec. Preach it. I don't know. That was weird. Sex Work, the musical. I mean, the absurdity of the things is so fucking nuts. I don't get, why are you on the side of that? I wish he didn't leave. I would love to have heard what the hell the argument is. I felt very condescending. Is that, it's for AIDS. Oh, damn it. Canadian Spider-Man. Hope we cut everything up here too. Cut it all. We're paying more in debt interest than on our healthcare, for fuck's sake. Then we can cut taxes and people can afford to do things for themselves. Dude, fucking, you're right, man. Canada, it's got it brutal. I was looking up, I put into Grok how many people died in Canada waiting for healthcare. The number shocked me. I didn't think it was that bad. I honestly thought it was more of like the type of thing that you say, like that's like kind of like it happens, but it's like not that widespread. It was crazy. It was like the last time I looked this up, like it was, okay. This is from Grok. According to the available data, in the fiscal year of 2023 to 2024, at least, this is what came up. 15,474 Canadians died while waiting for surgeries or diagnostic scans. And it gets worse. However, this number is likely an undercount, as several provinces, including Quebec, Alberta, Newfoundland, and Labrador, and most of Manitoba, do not provide complete data or track these deaths comprehensively. When extrapolating this to include these areas, the total number of deaths could be around 28,000 for that year. Since April 2018, the number of reported deaths waiting list has reached 74,000 fucking people. How is that, once again, how is this not like a humanitarian crisis? How is it like you don't have money to give to aid? We don't have money to give to the world. We don't have it. We are borrowing. We're in debt. I want Six to come back here. I want him to explain how this is a good plan for the country. We should just drive this country into the ground so we can fight fucking AIDS in Mozambique? No, absolutely not. Not our problem. I'm done with all that shit. Done. Canada's fucked right now? Yeah. Circumcision seems like female clitoral mutilation. I've heard too many guys talking about regrets, both practicing and barbaric to me until I'm shown otherwise. I've been wrong before. If you don't want to fund DEI in Serbia, we can't be friends, Matt. Okay, the Serbian Trans Fund will stay open. That's the only one, though, Sentient Dildo. That's the only one. Our healthcare system is pathetic. I want a procedure done, but I don't want to wait. Bro, you want to know something brutal with the circumcision thing? So I've been reading the Bible, and Michael told me to start at the beginning. Odd that a communist would have so much enthusiasm for the Bible, but, it's true. He did. So I started reading from the beginning, and it's kind of not all that easy, to be honest. Like, it's a little opaque. Like, I was reading Sodom and Gomorrah, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened here. Like, the word they was so interchangeable, and I didn't know if they was like the crowd of people or if they were the angels. It was really confusing to read. And like also when they talk about cities, it's like 4 people live in the city. Like they go to Sodom, and I'm like, didn't Moses' kid start Sodom? How did it go to shit? But I don't know. But he's like all the men and women, all the men, they're all wicked and they're all bad. And every single man in the town is surrounding Lot's house. All of them? So what, there's like 40,000 people out there? But it sounds like there's like 6 dudes. It's so bizarre. I really don't understand it. And then it was like so and so like struck them blind because they were trying to get in the door, and it's like, who did? I'm like, he stabbed out their eyes. Oh, he's an angel. Okay, but I got to the part where God tells, shit, I forgot who. One of the guys in the Bible, the circumcision. I think it's Abraham. And he says, that's how I'll know, you're part of the tribe, right? I'll know, and your generations will do it, and then we'll all do it, which is like weird, odd request, God. But when God tells Abraham to do that, he's a fucking adult. He's not like, hey, when you have babies, do it to them when they're infants so they don't remember. He's asking him to do it now. And then he asks his son to do it. And his son is 13. This is the year -2000 or whatever. Do you know how much fucking pain you would be in? Can you imagine the agony to cut off your fucking foreskin as an adult, man? Oh my God. That is a tough ask. If that doesn't get you into heaven, man, I don't know what does. For God, I will go through the absolute agony without any antiseptics, without any painkillers, nothing. Not even bandages. Just get in there. That's brutal, dude. Brutal. That was a brutal one. I was like, man, I was always curious about that. I've never read the Bible, so I didn't know where that came from. I had no idea what that was about. And I was like, yo, that is wild. That is a wild ass. What up, Jake Diesel? Not religious, but the Bible has some good stories to prove a point. I'm certainly not saying do it because of that. I don't, it's up to you, man. And I don't know. I was just curious about it. I was just like, what is the deal with that? I guess it's kind of like you're showing sacrifice, for God. Which I guess it kind of makes sense, right? If this is just like a temporary stopover, like all life, and it was like before and after, and then it's literally eternity, some pain you suffer on earth shouldn't really, it's not as bad, right? As being burned in a lake of fire for the rest of everything. So, I guess in that context, it does seem a little rough, though. Listless. Matt, just skip to the New Testament like normal people. Once Jesus shows up, it gets good. Okay, that's what I was doing. I was reading, I think, John. But that's what Mike told me. He's like, no, it's actually awesome. He's like, there's so much good information there. They had so much good storytelling and these like all these wars and this history, and it's all leading up to this Messiah, and then Jesus shows up. It is quite long, the Bible. On my Kindle, I guess it's the New American Bible or something like that. It's 4,000 pages. 4,000? Come again? In the quiet words of the Virgin Mary. Come again? And it's like, the Bibles are small. It's because I guess the print's so tiny. 4,000 words, man. Or pages, I mean. Whew. Jake D, dude, everyone always gets hurt when I say it, but the Old Testament is seriously polytheistic. There are absolutely multiple gods in it. Well, I'm going to find out. I don't know. I haven't heard that. All I've heard is God. Just God. I haven't gotten anywhere. I haven't seen any polytheism, but just God. I like it, though. Honestly, I'm enjoying it. I find it very gripping. Even though it's like I'm confused by it, I find it like enjoyable to read. And it's like, I've heard about this stuff my whole life. You hear about these stories constantly, but I've never actually read it. And I was like, I just want to read it just to do it. And it's like, it's pretty interesting, I don't know about the circumcision thing. It seems like a lot, but if it's a sacrifice, you're supposed to ask for God. I don't know. It's I'm just dabbling right now. I'm just scratching the surface. So I'll get back to you when I'm born again, not swearing and telling you guys are all sinners and gonna go to hell. Low spec. Moses is great. Giant capacitor charged by silk tent that electrocutes people. Ark of the Covenant. Drinking colloidal gold. Yeah, a lot of the stuff, too, that's like in the Bible, it's like, I feel like we're missing part of this story. I'm like, that was pretty brief and a lot happened, It's like very short. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. Like, I'm just taking it in. You know what I mean? I'm not judging it. I'm just taking it in. And I'm finding it, like I said, I think it's really interesting. I don't know. Canadian Spider, what kind of a sick God would ask you to do that to satisfy some sick fealty test? Sounds like a sick Monty Python joke when you really think about it. I mean, if your eternal soul is in the balance, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think that's wild. Like I never thought of it like at all. I just was like, oh yeah, it's in the Bible or something. It was about as much as I knew. And then when you read it, you're like, yeah. Could you imagine your dad's like, hey son, drop your pants. I got to cut off the skin around the head of your dick because God said I have to. It must have been an uncomfortable household for a little while. I think I'd be pretty pissed at my father. Just trauma. There's no there's no, by the way, like, oh, and that was the most agonizing pain I've ever felt in my entire life, and there was blood everywhere, and I don't even have a fucking Band-Aid because they're not invented because this is the year -2000. Why don't we just, instead of saying BC, why don't we just start saying -2000? -44, not 44 BC, -44. I feel like it's a much easier way to think about it. Don't read John, though. That guy was a fucked up fearmonger. That's interesting. His depiction of Jesus is like rough. John is like, Jesus is not playing fucking games in John at all. He's like, you do this or you're going to fucking burn, bro. All right. I'm the one true God and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whoa. Oh, man, that's a little scary, Not the cuddly image of Jesus at all. And John's not messing about. What does it say? One Testament God is jealous of what? Oh, Old Testament is informative for all the heinous shit people got up to. I'm just really interested. I don't know. I'm just curious. I read the story is different, I guess. The fire and brimstone at the top of the mountain, I think they were smelting gold. Oh, you're like trying to imagine what was really happening back then. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's kind of interesting. Like, I'm trying to imagine what the flood was for Moses, like what was going to happen. What's interesting is like God does a lot of direct talking to people. It's like God's like the boss and everyone's like in the corporate office, and he just like opens the door and he's, hey, listen, there's going to be a flood. You're going to want to get around to getting this ark together. And, I would get around to that. Get on top of that action item if you wouldn't mind. And then he just like leaves. It's like, it's really odd. Like, it's like, it just sounds like God, like, is one of the dudes in the town and just like opens the front door and he's like, hey, so there's going to be a flood. You're going to want to take all your animals. Like, God's always like right there. And there's the way Genesis worked, like there's Adam and Eve, and I get he's talking to them directly. He lives there. They're in the Garden of Eden. That's, they're all chilling out together. But there's no like framing change when they go to Earth. God just has the same way of communicating when they're in Earth, And like I said, everything happens like fast. He's like, go start that city. You start that city. All right, those are cities started now. And you're just like, where did all the people come from? I just find it confusing. It's not even that I'm like I said, not judging it. I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get some of this. And the golden calf was put in the water and they drank it, colloidal gold. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Sodom and Gomorrah must have been fucking wild. Yeah, I guess so. It sounded like it was someone's fucking house, though. It didn't sound like a whole city. I have no idea. Plus, a lot of this shit is really short. It's very short. Way shorter than I imagined, And also, like, the way I interpreted Sodom and Gomorrah, I was like, those don't sound like gay guys. Those sound like rapists. Like, he's like, it's so we can, like, know you. I forget how they put it, but it's like, basically demands everyone to come out of the house so they can be raped. I'm like, that's not gay sex, that's rape. It's a lot different, People have kind of always interpreted that as, like, gay sex. The Bible says it's evil. It's like, not really. It says raping people's evil, which I think I can get on board with. But it's not, like, it's certainly not cut and dry or black and white at all. I think, like, Leviticus mentions it, but doesn't Leviticus have a lot of wild stuff in there, too? Like, you can't cut your beard and shit. I don't know. I'm still scratching the surface, so I'm not going to really start making conclusions yet. Oh, this Bible chat's got everyone talking. Small Town Republic, there are times in the Old Testament where God gets mad and you're not quite sure why. I feel like it's probably reasonable to misinterpret the will of the Creator. I feel like you might be like, oh, he's God. He's got omnipotence. There must be a reason. Ark of the Covenant would be a giant capacitor, and the silk tent blowing on the dry desert would charge it up. I love your ancient aliens interpretation of the Bible. That rules. Jake D, I mean, there's a thing called sodomy based on Sodom, yet they don't actually say that they did that there. I know. That's what I mean. It's weird. The line that I read, it was just like, so we could have relations or something with you. Like, but it's implied, I think, that they want to rape them. It's all very vague. Like, it's a weird one to then be like, that's definitely what God said, and that's definitely evil. It's like, it's definitely not that clear. I can say that with full certainty. It's pretty vague. That's a weird one to just be like, that's, it's like, wait a minute, the Bible guys got it wrong this whole time? Like I said, my interpretation of Sodom and Gomorrah, like, I did not walk away from that and be like, oh yeah, gay people are definitely evil. God said it. It's like, no. It sounds like these guys, all the guys up there were going to rape everyone in that house. And then that was like proof of their wickedness. And why the hell did Lot's wife turn into a pillar of salt? What was that about? What was that? She like looked back and then boom, salt. Whoa, why? Lot doesn't really shed a tear. He's probably like, whew, God, she was a pain in the ass. All right. You retard, God was helping that kid, preventing AIDS and shit. I've never heard that in my life. I've never heard that there was any kind of connection between foreskin and the transmission of AIDS. But as Six pointed out, I didn't look into it, so I don't know. It's like, I love these people. It's like, you need to be an expert on absolutely every single thing to have an opinion that they disagree with, It's just like, that's stupid. I disagree with it on principle. I disagree with it on the principle that we're broke, okay? How about that? How about you go fuck off to Hassan's channel, you lib! Big lib! Ah! Just kidding. Apparently Six is always hanging around too, right? I don't know why he's such a. I didn't know he was such a lib. What are we saying? They left the been a while. Been a while since I read it, but isn't that usually angels speaking to people, not God? Not all the time, right? In fact, in Sodom and Gomorrah, God has talks to, I guess, is it Abraham? And Abraham Jews him down. No, he like basically like God's like, I'm gonna kill everyone in Sodom. And he's just like, wait, what about the good people? And he's just like, all right, God's like, all right, if I find 50 good people, I won't do it. He's like, all right, but what if you don't come close? What if it's like 45? And he's like, all right, if I find 45, gets him all the way down to 10. This is like all laid out in like detail. And like, by the way, God's a terrible negotiator in this conversation. He's just like, all right, well, I guess 35. All right, I guess 30. All right, I guess 25. All right, I mean, what a pushover. But I guess the whole point was, it's like, it doesn't matter what number you find. There's no good people there. So you can go as low as you want. But that was a direct conversation, a back and forth, you know, which I thought was like odd. Like if you're talking to the God, like you're hanging out with him, I feel like I would just, whatever he said goes. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, hey, wait a minute. Can't we talk about this? Like he's literally omnipotent. He knows everything that's gone on. He's created every single thing in the universe. Like take his word for it, you know? You know what I mean? But I don't know. Did God get the necessary licenses to do all that? Did you look into exactly what type of stuff was going on in Sodom and how wicked they were? Are you an expert? Do you know? She looked back. Yeah, that's the, I know she wasn't supposed to. Lot's wife was not supposed to look back. I get it. And she looked back and that was wrong. Totally understand. But, what's up, Lagable? It's good to see you, pal. But, and I guess the angel said, don't do it. Okay. Why though? And also, why salt? What? You know, the other guys got blinded. I guess they were all getting slaughtered anyway. But it is weird, right? Like the Bible says, it says that the angels made the people blind who were trying to get into Lot's house, because Lot was like, you know, I don't know, showing the angels neighborly hospitality. They all tried to break into the house or whatever, and then the angels struck them blind. Then they burned the whole city down. It's like, well, why'd you bother striking them blind? Maybe just so that they couldn't, it was like buying yourself some time. But you could have just killed them. You are going to kill them anyway. It's a weird extra step to do. I don't know. That bargaining came to Abraham naturally. It's part of the lineage, I guess. Part of the lineage. They took that negotiation to heart. God needs art of the deal, lol. Listen, Abraham, I'm not going lower than any 40 souls. Can't go lower than that. Essentially, Dildo, Matt, are you just reading your biases in the whole God never said gays are bad thing? I mean, it would mean your soul isn't damned. You say I'm reading it just purely out of self-preservation? And I'm like, no, see, it says right there. It says right there. It's not about gay people. It's about rape. And rape is bad, but being gay is. Okay, I'm just saying it's right there, black and white. It's got nothing to do with me. That's right. Just like, please. Oh, fuck yeah. I can be gay as I want to be. Woo! Old Testament God did not fuck around. No, certainly didn't. Certainly, at least thus far, hasn't. I mean, just like wiping out a whole city because they're wicked. Oh, I'd love to know what wicked was. It was just like, you know, it's so funny too. You talk to like some of these like kind of Christian conservative guys. They're just like, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, you're just like, what was going on there? You know, it's really vague, man. It's like I know what we're supposed to think, but wicked could be a lot of things. It's not really clearly laid out. Just that they want to rape the angels, which is not cool, certainly. You know, but I feel like it's more than that. I don't know. You ask a fair question. Why does looking back at the destruction warrant the salt pillar punishment? Yeah, I didn't get it. I guess they were told not to. It's just like an instinct, though, right? You want to see a whole city's getting destroyed. You wouldn't want to look. But so I'm also too like everything sounds so small. Like, is Lot's house just inside the gate? It's kind of like when I would build a world in like Dungeons and Dragons, you know what I mean? And I didn't really have all the details filled out. Like it would just be like, yeah, there's an inn there. Like I don't know how big it is. I don't know where all the rooms are. I don't know all that stuff. Kind of like just improving as I go. It's some of that feels like a little bit of what's going on in this book. Like I don't know. I'm just like, wait, what? It sounds like there's 4 or 5 people out there, not 40,000. And how the hell I guess they're all blind now, so maybe they're able to just kind of like weave through the crowd, but like I said, there's a lot of gaps. I don't know. I'm not denying the word. I'm not denying. I'm just saying I don't know. What she only turned into a one pillar? Would two have been too much? Oy vey. And a pillar? I can't use a pillar. How about a buck? How about a bag? I carry the salts. He clearly gave up on shit because look at us now. Wait, what is that in regards to? God? I like how evasive Trump was when he said he loved the Bible and then reporters asked him for details. Yeah, it's like Old Testament and New Testament. They're both great. I love them. He's the funniest dude. I don't get why people don't find that guy at least funny. Like, you don't have to like him, but he's hilarious. Like, you're that cooked, you can't find that guy funny. That guy's hilarious, dude. He fucking rules. I don't know. Wicked is Wendell lecturing us on sodomy. Oh, that's funny. Talk about the Bible with Wendell. Haven't broke out Wendell in a while. We'll see. It's been a while. I feel like angels should not have a sex drive. I don't know that they did. I'm not, at least not in that sequence. They were going to be the victims of it. They weren't going to do the thing. Jake D, I mean, Supernatural kind of explained the good absence thing. He told them interfering just screws up things more. I don't know what you're talking about at all, Jake. I don't know. Grape ain't cool. Whoa, Matt. Hot take Fowler over here. I was just saying, it like that was only one act, you know. I don't know what else encompasses wicked when God says the whole city's wicked. I don't know. It's very vague. All I'm saying is that if you're going to hate gay people, you need a better reason than that. That's all I'm saying. That ain't good enough for me. Details get hazy after you rewrite and edit like 40 times. Well, also, wasn't it oral tradition for like a really long time before anyone wrote it down? I don't actually. Oh, wait, was that new? That might have been the New Testament. I don't know. But also, it's been translated to so many different languages and shit. Actually, my ex-girlfriend knew a guy. I guess it was like her preacher because they're not Catholic. Excuse me. But he like learned the Aramaic to like go back and read the original and then would talk about it from that perspective. And I was like, that sounds really interesting. You know, I mean, that's a long time ago. It's a long time ago, you know, things. I mean, I'd like to believe our communication's gotten better since then, you know, I don't know. Well, if they're graping angels with no genital sodomy, hell was named after that town. Hell, it was named after that town. Right. No, I get it. But I don't like, unless there's something about this particular version that I'm reading, I feel like it's kind of misinterpreted. I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't cut and dry enough for me to be like, definitely. It's like, yeah, I know they named it that, but they might have got it wrong. I don't know. Damn, Bible, Wendell studies Bible, Nightmare Fuel.
And then there was this guy, and he seemed like a real wonderful fella named Jesus. Yeah, he was a real nice guy, and was just like, listen, here's what you gotta do. You gotta be nice to people, gotta be good, gotta submit to the one true God, and everything else will just work out fine. It's gonna be lovely dovelies, okay? All right, bye now.
Wendell talking about the Bible rules. Wish I had more stories.
And there was this big flood. And all the animals in the whole world, even though the world's big, and this was only in one spot.
There's a whole part at the beginning somewhere where angels were banging the bad people. Oh, I don't know if I got there yet. Or maybe like I said, it's hard to read. Some of it might have just gone right past me. I'm doing my best here. 4,000 pages. I mean, I can't pour over every single page, every single word. It's a lot to get through. It's a big book. I feel like most people haven't read this. I feel like people who are like really claim they're really religious, I don't think most of them have read it. That's my opinion. 4,000 pages is a lot of pages. Most people don't finish fucking TikToks that are a minute long. So I'm a little unconvinced, but I don't know. I can't read your mind. I mean, there's a whole Nephilim thing, half angel, half human offspring, right? Then some of them must have had sex drives. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot. I also find it weird too, like when people are convinced that things from the Bible are real to the point where like they're sure. Like, and just science and information be damned. Like, I have a buddy who's like a flat earther, like a really committed. I don't know if he still is. I haven't talked to him in a little while. But back when we were in LA, he was full on about it. And to the point where he was going to find encyclopedias where they had different definitions about Antarctica. You know, it's a weird one to commit to, I think. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Even if you proved it, like, now what? You know what I mean? Like, now what? I don't know. I guess you'd be like, everyone was lying and I was right. And it's like, that's sick. Okay, now what? I don't know. That was a weird one. None of us were there. Maybe some Roman accounts might be semi-legit. I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I'm just saying it's a long time ago. I don't know. That's why Slims keep Quran in Arabic. Shit gets lost in translation. Slims? Is that your nickname for Muslim people? Slims? Oh, Muslims? Slims. That should feel more offensive than it does, but it doesn't. It's very funny. Slims. That's great. It's great. The Slims. I skipped a lot and read it once. There's nothing in Psalms anyway. I tried originally to listen to it, to do like the audiobook version, but when you get into the he beget this person and he beget that person and he beget, I was just like, come on, man, we could do some editing here. We don't need to know all the who beget who. This is like a census. It's really dry. Like, this is not... It's not even like, oh, I don't want to take my medicine. It's like, this isn't even medicine. This is just like a sorted data that ended up here. It's just like someone had like the stack of the Bible on their desk and then accidentally got like the census mixed in there, and it's been canon ever since. It's just like, we could get rid of some of the who beget who's. This goes on for a while, man. There's a lot of begetting going on. And so it's like, I kind of want to just like skip. So reading the actual book, I'm able to like move it a little bit further, but you know. Yeah, I tried to listen to it. I was like, this is a lot of begetting. It's a lot of begetting. Also, like, Genesis is short, especially the part where it describes, like, the planet being made. It's like, bro, listen. I get it. You have your faith and shit, but chill. Chill, bro. It's like a page, man. You're going to go up against all science with a page. I don't really think it's got anything to do with whether or not you believe in God or not, if other people think maybe it's a 7 billion-year-old galaxy. It's just... I understand being religious, and I get when people bastardize it and stuff, but, you know, pick your battles. You know what I mean? That's not the one to fight. Soul Assassin. It's true. Trying to read the Bible is hard and easy to lose your place. Rather do audio instead. Yeah, if it wasn't for all that begetting. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's kind of good to maybe do like a portion of both. I was saying, too, the good thing is there's of all the media that's ever existed, there's never more explained content than the Bible. You know how you find a movie like a David Lynch film and you're like, what the hell was that? And then you go on YouTube and you find like an explained. You're like, oh, great. With the Bible, there's a whole lot of explained videos. There's a lot of explained content out there. So if you have any confusion, you can... there's a lot of chatter about this particular book. Pretty influential book. Yeah. It's a bit of an encyclopedic digest more than anything. I find it interesting. I just find it, I'm just confused by some of the facts. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. And I'm like, the circumcision thing, I'm like, God, what's up with that, man? That's brutal. Listen to David Suchet reading the Gospels. That name sounds familiar. How do I know that name? How do I know David Suchet? Actor. Oh, yeah. I know his face. He's English. Those English can speak, man. They got good speaking voices. Don't really know many of his movies. Executive Decision, of course. Classics. Seagal, Kurt Russell. The Bank Job, The Way We Live, A Perfect Murder. I don't really know that guy. All right. How about just live your life not being an asshole? That works too. I think that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Don't be a dick. You know? Yeah, Jake D seconds that. Absolutely. We need a Zoomer translation of the Bible. Oh my God, for real, for real. And on God, God said, yo, they straight bussing over there in Sodom. That stuff is so funny. That woman, like, no cap that Zach showed. I don't know if you guys all saw this, but on Zach's show on Saturday, there was the girl talking in Zoomer talk and Gen Alpha talk to try to like criticize the government. It was brutal. It was so cringy. And we had to keep rewatching stuff. He really wanted to make sure we got all the context. Like, thanks, Zach. Actually, I got it. I'm fine. Okay. This is what the Bible boils down to. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's a lot to do with it too, you know. But I think, like, I don't know. I haven't gotten to the Jesus stuff yet. I don't want to speak on it yet. I don't know. I don't really know yet. I'm still like very early on. I'm at, page 20 of 4,000. So I'll tell you a little bit more what I think as I get down the road with it. I didn't even really talk about, like, I guess I talked about the DOGE stuff, the protests a little bit. It wasn't like that much. There's just a bunch of people out there, like I said, protesting for the man, which is hilarious. It's just crazy, you know? That's so crazy. Oh, the woke right. Okay, I do have one thing I wanted to talk about, and this really fucking annoyed me. So, over the weekend, some news broke that woman, Ashley St. Clair, is maybe having Elon's baby, right? And I was like, yo, that's wild. Especially she, like, breaks it with a tweet, and then is like tweeting Elon and being like, hey, get back to me about our kid. It's like, Jesus. And then there's like all this pearl clutching by these conservative men being like, oh, that's not very conservative. Yeah, my wife with different kids and oh, not very Christian conservative. And I was like, holy shit, James, I actually found the woke right. James Lindsay. I was like, wait a minute. So we're okay with moral puritanism and forced values as long as they're your values? Is that how this is? Like the pearl clutching and screeching from the men on Twitter freaking out over Elon having a out of wedlock baby was really gay. I thought it was really gay. And it's like, listen, man, like, what does that mean about you? Who gives a shit what Elon does with his wife and the girl? Who cares? Why is that even your business? And then for you to like screech about it like a woke, it was like a woke person. It was like someone freaking out that their values didn't align. I was like, this is a bad showing. The quartering was going all off on it. Some other, I don't remember. I saw a number of accounts like going off on like, I'm not very Christian conservative. It was just like, he's a tech bro billionaire. He became a Republican 6 months ago. Why are you surprised by this behavior? What are you talking about? Elon's always said he's going to propagate the world with all these kids. He wants to have as many kids as possible. He's worth $400 billion. I'm sure he could take care of them. Very weird. Very lame. I was like, ew, dude, gay, shut up. Like, this is not the win you think it is, man. This just makes you look real lame. Real lame. Well, I think because it was... Lindsay is the woke right. Actually, I agree with you. That's a good point. He really is. He really is. But this behavior screamed woke to me. I wasn't like, I'm not using it in the James Lindsay definition, but this behavior screamed woke. It was just like this moral puritanism, and you're forcing it of other values on other people, loudly virtue signaling and screeching that people doesn't share your values. That's woke as fuck, bro. Gay. We are not on the same side, man. We are not on the same side. Elon's spreading his super seed, survival of our species. His super seeds. Yeah, I guess we're going to make a bunch of Elons. Things will be Lowell the quartering. Yeah, like the quarterling. The quarterling. Jid. Fucking Jed. Soul Assassin, that St. Clair story is wild. I stayed out of it cause I didn't care and thought it was stupid. Quartering went nuts. Yeah, a bunch of them went nuts. A bunch of, like, dudes on Twitter went nuts. I lost a lot of respect for a lot of people. I was like, ew, dude, gay. Fucking chill, bro. Not very Christian conservative. Okay. Just live your life. Live it, you know, the way you think is going to do best for you. Don't throw that on to anyone else, man. That's some weak shit. Essential Dildo, why are you surprised? People be spurring and Puritanism is hard-coded into American culture. Yeah, I guess so. I just thought you'd think twice about spurging like a bitch after we've just been through so much of this stuff, you know? I don't know. Later, Jakey. Later, Jake. I'm actually going to wrap it up, too. I'm going to wrap it up for the evening for this episode of the MFer Podcast, a very religious podcast. That was actually kind of fun talking about that with y'all. You guys all had interesting things to say about the Bible. I didn't know that was going to happen, but it was pretty cool. Elon getting more than people complaining about it. That's funny. You deleted your X app again. Such a waste of time. I disagree with that. I love the information I get on X. There's so much stuff. Elon didn't wrap it. Good boy. Good boy, Elon. Leave it in. And Bible study with Matt. And Wendell. Don't forget Wendell.
We've also got letter to the Corinthians. John and the letter to the Corinthians as read by Wendell.
I don't know that letter, but... All right, y'all. This was fun. Members stream Thursday. Let's rock and or roll. Y'all have a fantastic freaking evening. Peace out.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!